Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram Satgurum Brahmavidvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 Fourth and fifth mantra, you can repeat. Duramete viparite vishuchi avidyaya cha vidyeti jnata vidyabhipsinam nachiketasam manye Natva kama bahavo lolupanta avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhirav panditam manyamanaha dandramyamanav pariyanti mudhaha Andhe naiva niyamana yathandhaha. We were seeing the second Valli of Kathopanishad, where Yamacharya is starting to praise Nachiketa. We said when the student makes the wrong choice, it's a duty of the teacher to scold. But when the student makes a good choice, duty of the teacher to encourage and praise. So Yamacharya is telling Nachiketa, the choice that you have made is something which is very worthy of praise. You asked me to tell the nature of that Brahman, that truth, and I offered you all other temptations, starting with land, power, wealth, good relations. Everything I offered, I said, take this instead of Brahma. Take this instead of self-abidance. And you were so clear about what you wanted. That choice of yours is worthy of praise. He tells Nachiketa these two paths of self-abidance and seeking solace in situations. Both of them present themselves to human beings. Both of them present themselves to people. And because of lack of thinking or because of pressure of yogakshema, either we have not thought about limitation of situations or pressure of our well-being is too much. Devotion to God has not ripened yet. Because of that, a person might end up choosing Preya over Shreya. What was the one-line definition of Shreya? Seeking self-abidance is Shreya. And what was one-line definition of Preya? Seeking solace in conducive situations, Paristhiti is Preya. These two definitions, if you hold on to, entire Kathopanishad will open up in a very special way. At body level, seeking solace in objects. Mind level, seeking solace. What are the things? Love, trust, respect. All things which are conducive to this mind. And intellect level, seeking solace in the right kind of people. All of that is good. what Upanishad is telling us is that cannot be goal of life. It is not saying it is unimportant. Prayer is needed so that our journey can continue, but a person should not make that as final goal of life. If my Yogakshema worry, Yogakshema means to get something which I don't have and to protect something that I have. If that worry is overpowering, a person will not end up choosing self-abidance. That is what Upanishad mantra told us. Fourth mantra said, the path of prayer, wherever it leads us to, that destination is one, and path of Shreya, wherever it leads us to, that destination is second. Uniqueness about both these two are, they are mutually exclusive. Viparite means they are mutually exclusive. Vishuchi means they are two different goals. You cannot combine them. One is called as Vidya, another is called as Avidya. Path of Shreya is called as Vidya, and path of Preya is called as Avidya. How did we understand this? Why are these two goals different? How are they mutually exclusive? Path of Shreya negates Ahankara. Path of Shreya is to lead us into our own infinite truth and to remove this notion that I am enjoyer, I am experiencer. This doership and enjoyership is removed in the path of Shreya. On the path of prayer, Ahankara is not questioned. Keeping that Ahankara intact, all other solutions are presented. It might be much better than somebody who is living tamasic life, somebody who is living indulgent life. Compared to that, this prayer is much better. Indulgence, adharma is not even discussed in Shastra. Especially in Upanishad, they will not even go there. Saints and sages, they are very compassionate. They will go into details and tell us what we should do, what we should not do. Like there is one text called as Das Bodha. Samartha Ramdas ji goes to the details of telling what is Murkha Lakshana. And there he says one who eats while walking is a Murkha. If two people are talking, goes in between and talks, he is a Murkha. Then he says, please don't feel bad. I am not telling this to criticize anybody. He says, I am telling this so that we know what to let go of. But the point is, only do's and don'ts will not solve all our problems. That time you will see, I need more philosophy, I need more logic. So Upanishads are mainly focusing on the later part. They assume that we are already putting forth effort to live a dharmic life. Whatever limitations are there in our personality, we are trying to correct it. Having become a good person, Upanishads say, our end journey is not in this point also. So it's a question between good and divine. It is not a question between bad and divine. This point we should not miss. From erroneous lifestyle, he has come to a good lifestyle. And what this mantra is telling is, you are a good person, which is good. But there is something more to your personality, which is divine, which is even beyond good. Nachiketa will repeat his question later. He says, tell me that which is beyond dharma, beyond adharma. Tell me that which is beyond adharma, we can understand. But he is asking, tell me that which is beyond dharma also. So ahankara cannot be protected and negated at the same time. Path of Shreya is removing this enjoyership, doership. Path of Preya is protecting that doership. That is why it is called as avidya. It is called as ignorance. I take myself as anything other than Brahma. All of that is avidya only. That was this verse. He says, Nachiketa, you are the fit student for this knowledge. You are seeking Shreya. All these temptations could not tempt you. It could not make you change your goal. And those who think worldly goals are alone the goal of life, you don't have to seek anything more than world. What is Upanishad's view about them? Avidyayam antare vartamanaha. They are roaming around in darkness. Their own self-evaluation is swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. They think we are all great people, we are learned people. Swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. What should be goal of life? We will tell you. Why are you studying scriptures? Why are you making Brahman as goal of life? He says, listen to what we are telling. Something of this world alone will give us joy. That will solve all our problems. That is this group. He says, Swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. You know, the traditional meaning of this verse is those who promise or those who encourage others to go to Swarga. In Bhagavad Gita, that is how Bhagwan connects it. He says, Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipaschitah vedavadartah partha na anyat asti iti vadinaha. They quote Vedas, they quote scriptures, and say scriptures are only telling you to go to heaven. He say, why are you studying Vedanta? Means seek some conducive situation which will solve all problems. Heaven happens to be the best conducive situation. Because they are also quoting same scriptures, the word is used, panditam manyamanaha. How will you understand this? Vedas are not telling us we should go to heaven. Vedas are saying, if at all somebody wants to go to heaven, this is the path. That is not an injunction that one should go to heaven. You ask what is the main injunction there? They'll say main injunction is become spiritual, understand nature of God. That is the main message. That's why the second boon that Nachiketa asked, he says, this is not the boon for me. If at all somebody wants to go, this is the journey. Dandramyamanaha. Again and again, they go in this cycle of samsara. Andhenaiva niyamana yathandaha. It is like a group of blindfolded people led by another blindfolded person. Himself doesn't have vision for his life. He is leading everybody else to go towards that destination where he is going. What was this mantra called as? Nahi ninda nyaya. Don't forget that. It is not pointing to anybody. It is praising the one who has chosen Brahman as the goal. In spite of so many influences, if somebody comes to choose self-abidance as the goal, same Upanishad will say that is an Ashcharyam. Puja Guruji humorously said it once. Somebody asked him, it seems, if there is one movie star who comes, some celebrity who comes, so many people come, hundreds and thousands of people come. But if you say you are doing Vedanta class, why is it few people come? He said, my question is, even these people, how are they coming? There is so much out in the world that if few people are interested in Vedanta, that is an Ashcharyam. So it is praising those who are making Brahman as the goal. In the midst of all the noise, to find that voice of self-abidance. This is where, the Murtimanta Vigraha of Raman Maharshi comes in front. Of how diligent he was in holding on to that real voice. You bring any other voice, you tell any other thing, he will take you there only. He says that is, even if somebody wants it, they might not be there yet. If somebody wants it for themselves, that person is being praised here. Yamacharya now mentions another fact. He says, 6th verse, Nasamparayah pratibhati balam pramadyantam vittamohena mudham Ayam loko nasti para iti mani. Punaf punar vashamapadyate me. Nasamparayaf pratibhati balam. Pramadyantam vittamohena mudham. Ayam loko nasti para iti mani. Punaf punar vashamapadyate me. For these people who think world alone is the goal, there is nothing beyond this world. Whatever meets the eye is the final truth. The path of Shreya doesn't become apparent to them. Samparaya means path for spiritual evolution, path for self-abidance. Something beyond what meets the eye, that path doesn't become apparent to them at all. If they are choosing only world, Upanishad has one word for them. Balam. Balam means like a child. One who asks for very trivial things and thinks that alone to be whole and soul. That is the meaning of Balam. Huh? Like he'll ask for a marble and start crying for it, fight with others. Say for what? For marble. Like that, if some person is strongly wanting something in this world and thinks that alone is goal of life, from Upanishadic standpoint, the word given is Balam. It's a very mellow and soft word. Shankaracharya said, Mudamate, Mudamate. This is only like a child. Small things he is asking. Why did he end up like this? Pramadyantam. Pramadyantam means, in spite of knowing, did not act upon it. That is called as pramada. Not that he has not heard. Bhajagovindam he heard, sang it also, beautiful melodious tune. But in the midst of that, what got missed was shifting attention to Govinda. Making Govinda as the goal, in spite of listening, if somebody did not do it, that is called as pramada. There is a difference between pramada and alasya. Pramada means inadvertence. Alasya means procrastination. For example, if you ask somebody, go to the market and bring this dragon fruit. Okay? Go to the market and bring this dragon fruit. Now if he keeps postponing it, I will go. Whole Saturday is gone, does not go. Whole Sunday is gone, does not go. That is called as alasyam. Procrastinating. Pramada is, you told him to go, he went. But got everything except that fruit. That is called as pramada. In spite of listening, he missed it out. Like that, Upanishads are telling us, right from day one, all they are telling us is, seek Brahma. Seek Brahma. You are that Brahman. Sadhana Chatusha discussion also happened. Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. But just listening is not sufficient. Next step is to reflect on it on our own. I might know the best direction of how to go from here to one place. But unless I sit in the car and go, I will not reach there. So like that, this person did pramada. He heard about his goal, but he did not put forth effort to walk on the path. Pramadyantam vitta mohena mudham. Vitta means wealth. Moha means delusion coming from wealth. Mudham means the person who got deluded. Because everything was good, he thought, what is the need for spirituality? So those resources which should have helped him ended up becoming an obstacle. That is called as vitta mohena mudham. What is their final thinking? They say, ayam lokaha na asti para iti mani. This world alone is true. There is nothing more than this world. One of our Swamiji says, Picasso, pina khana sona. He says, Bhaiya Picasso, why are you worrying about other worlds? Have you seen it? You will ask point blank questions. This person will, yeah, no, I have not seen it. I've only heard it. You see, that what you have heard, why work so hard? You don't even know whether it is there or not. Yavat jivet, sukham jivet. Until you live luxuriously. Runam krutva, ghrutam pibet. If you have to borrow things, borrow. But don't compromise on luxury. Runam krutva means, if you are in debt, be in debt. But live luxuriously. Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutaha. That body which burns into ashes, where is again coming back for this body? This is Charvak Siddhanta. Words of wisdom, like how we give sadhana chatushtaya upadesha, right? They give this upadesha. Have this vision, this life alone is all. You don't have to think about anything hereafter. Yamacharya says, sir, if you don't believe in rebirth, doesn't mean rebirth will stop. I say, I don't believe whether this fire is hot or not. Or my belief is, fire is not hot. My belief has nothing to do with whether my hand will get burnt. You touch the fire, fire will burn. So he says, if somebody thinks in this way, there is no rebirth. Last line is, punah punah vashamapadyate me. Time and again, they keep having appointment with me. Yamacharya's department is rebirth. Again and again, in my vasha, they come. Meaning what? If I don't believe in rebirth, rebirth is not going to stop. It is said there are 14 lokas. 14 worlds are there. Moment Jiva drops Sharira in one loka. According to his karma, he will get Sharira either in the same loka or in one of the 14 lokas. There is no option of, I don't want to go in any of these. It is not selecting, a home. I don't like this, I'll go here, I'll go there. This is nothing doing. You are pushed into one loka. In that loka, we have to go. Imagine there are 14 floors, okay? 14 floors, elevator. One of the button is always pressed. Means you go to the 7th floor, go there, finish your work, come back. There is no going out of the building. Again, you have to go on one of the floors only. They are like these lokas, different lokas. And in every loka, think of it like a movie. Constantly going on. This is another movie. In this loka, this is the movie. You watch it, you have different emotions. Sometimes thrill is there, sometimes laughter is there, sometimes sorrow is there. And finally you say, okay, now I'm tired. Can I go out of the movie? Right when you come out, you see 2 people standing there. They say, this movie is done, go to the next one. Imagine what will be the condition. Constantly you have to keep watching movies. You say, no, I want to go out. No, nothing going out. Another. Every loka is like one movie. Whether you like it or not, you have to sit there and watch it. He says, punah punaha vashamapadyate me. Time and again, they keep going through rebirth. In Panchadashi, the example is given of a insect in a whirlpool. Once it falls in that whirlpool, it doesn't have control. Whenever the whirlpool takes it, it will have to go. With lot of compassion, a saint comes and takes out that scorpion from that whirlpool, and that scorpion ends up stinging him. You say, I'm so good there, why did you take me out? Again it goes. Again he pulls out. Again it goes. You say, that is the journey of Jiva. Time and again going through this cycle of rebirth, in spite of having the choice of being free from it. And this particular point, we will have to think on our own. How or why is rebirth a bondage? In Hindi they say, Punarjanma maza nahi hai, saza hai. Rebirth is not fun, it's a punishment. But unless I think about it myself, many of us will feel, what is wrong? So we have to think about it. You all can reflect on your own. What did Shankaracharya say? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam, iha samsare bahudustare, krupaya pare pahi murare. Bhaja govindam, govindam bhaja mudhamate. The advantage of chanting Bhaja Govindam is, at least in that pretext, we take Govinda's name few times. He says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. That same cycle keeps going on. Bhagavan, when will I be free from this? If that thought process doesn't appeal to us, right? Punarjanma, many of us don't think actually. We feel samsara means, if somebody tells us Punarjanma is samsara, to connect with that point needs lot of mananam. There is another way to look at it. Moving from one state of mind to another state of mind, that also is samsara. Instead of saying moving from one body to another body, another samsara is moving from one state of mind to another state of mind. Now happy, now sad, now excited, now dejected. That constant moving is also called as samsaranam. So Yamacharya says, look at it from either standpoint. After this body, transmigration, that is one. Or in the same sharira, from one mindset to another mindset. Main thing what we have to recognize is the need for self-abidance. Punah punaha vashamapatyate me. Again and again, they come in my control. Okay, this Punarjanma topic and all, little bit becomes too serious. I'll share something light. There was one person who was very mischievous. Would keep getting into problems, would keep getting into some or the other mischief. In 1 year, 3-4 months he would spend in prison. Very used to that prison. Frequently went inside, came out. So much so that everybody became his friends. So the jailer who was there was his best friend. Every month, every year, 4 months if he was spending there. One day when he was released, they said, we are very sorry, by mistake we kept you 10 days more. There was some calculation error, we kept you 10 days more. He said, don't worry, next time when I come, you adjust it. He's so certain he's going back again. He says, Yamacharya feels like that jailer. He has sent us in this birth. He has said, you have this chance of being free from samsara. And we tell Bhagavan, don't worry. If any adjustment has to be done, we'll do it in the next birth. So the person who understands pain of rebirth, that is the sadhaka of Upanishads. Now Bhagavan, if this is so rare to get this knowledge, to have value for self-abidance, is there somebody who actually walks on this path, or is it an empty path? Bhagavan says, no, there are few people who are walking. You see the next verse. Shravanayapi bahubhiriyo nalabhyah. Shravanayapi bahubhiriyo nalabhyah. Shrunvantopi bahavoyam na vidyuh. Shrunvantopi bahavoyam na vidyuh. Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha. Ascharyo jnata kushalanushishtah. Shravanayapi bahubhiriyo nalabhyah. Shrunvantopi bahavo yam na vidyuh Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha Ascharyo jnata kushalanushishtah. Yamacharya is saying, this knowledge is so unique that many people don't get to listen to it also. Shravanaya api bahubihi na labdha. That Atma is such, many people don't get to listen to it. Shrunvantopi, in spite of listening, many people don't get it. Shrunvantaha api bahavaha yam na vidyuh. Or SRKG says it very nicely. He said, after entire teaching of Vedanta, you ask him, who are you? He said, I am son of Kuppuswamy. So a whole thing they taught, you are Brahman, you are Brahman, you are Brahman. He says, Shrunvantopi baho yamna vidyuh. Same erroneous notions continue. Ascharyo vakta. Speaker about this truth is a wonder. Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha. A fit teacher is a wonder. Ascharyo jnata. The one who listens to it and understands it, taught by an efficient teacher. Kushalanushishtah is an ascharyam. It's a wonder. Wonder, oh wonder. All wonders. Now there is some very beautiful deep points here. Shravanayapi bahubiryona labhyah. Why is it said many people don't get to listen to it? We all go through a spiritual journey. And at several points, need for spirituality is not felt. If that need is not felt, even if opportunity is there, you will not go and seek it. It is said you can feed a hungry person, but if somebody is full, doesn't want to eat, you make whatever you want. You cannot feed that person. Like that, there might be several spiritual things going on. But unless that desire comes in our heart, by God's grace and our punya karma, need is not felt, I should be spiritual or I need to listen to Vedanta. Interesting thing is, the emphasis on why it is important to listen to Vedanta will be told in the Vedanta. It will be told in Vedanta. To make that first step itself is difficult. I met few sadhakas. Now they are very sincere, very regular. When I was in India, they said, Gurudev came to my home. He came to our home for bhiksha. We were on the top floor, he was on the bottom floor. I was a teenager back then, having this rebellious nature. If a Swami comes, let him come. Why should I come down? He said he was right there. Everybody came, all others came, they took darshan and they went. But at that time, I was not ready. Another sadhaka shared, Gurudev came to his hometown in Bangalore. Big pandal was raised for his yajna. 5,000 people, such a big place. He said, my biggest concern was 7 days no cricket. Because ground is gone, they are putting all that pandal there. He said, why the Swami had to come to our ground? That is this line, Shravanayapi bahubiryona labhyah. Many people don't get to listen to this also. Why go far? Just look at our own social contacts, our own family, and then see how many people have this opportunity to do satsang. It might be possible they are very dharmic people, they are very pious people, but this yoga, the opportunity, the appropriate circumstance, as far as our body is concerned, mind is concerned, family is concerned, to bring it such that we can have this value for doing Shravanam, He says that itself is rare. Many don't get it. In other words, if it comes even a little bit, we should understand God loves us very much. This desire to be spiritual, he says you cannot buy it. No Vishaya, no sense object, no material thing you can transact for this goal. Shravanayapi bahubiryo na labhya. There is another category also. Many might feel discontentment, but they will not know where to go. From one place to another place, one ashram to another ashram, lot of roaming can happen without getting direction that my solution lies here. That is another path a person can be. And when we studied, there were so many sadhakas like that. He says 6 years we went from one place to another, not knowing where to seek this. But you know what happens? Sometimes when it is available very easily, we don't appreciate the value of it. Maharaji would say this whenever he would explain a subtle point, which you would otherwise find it very difficult to understand. He'd say, to understand this, I have spent 20 years. Went to several Mahatmas, sought this clarity. He said, that is what I am giving right now. The point is, whenever it is available, that reverence we should pray to Bhagavan, may it be there fully in our heart. Shravanayapi bahubiryo na labhyah. Shrunvantopi bahavaha yam na vidyuh. In spite of listening, many don't get it. Many don't get it. Means the way we should understand is, they don't get it yet. We should not say they will never get it. They don't get it yet because the instrument is not ready. Instrument is not ready. Shankaracharya translates it as asamskrita atma. Asamskrita atma means whatever is there in terms of body, mind and intellect, that is not tuned fully yet. Still mind goes out, still it finds something more attractive in the world. Doing Shravanam with that mindset, knowledge will not become clear. Asamskrita atma means that. Second, he says, if somebody's punya karma is not ripened, then that knowledge doesn't become clear. Punya karma not ripened means his devotional practices, his sharanagati in Bhagavan, that is not fully formed yet. Means he will not see result of that knowledge in his life. In Sandeepany, Puja Guruji, Swamiji also would tell us, Gurudev, he had given this instruction, that you might have several classes in the day. Make sure that you don't miss your daily prayers and evening aarti. Because Bombay rains, they are so pouring, rainy season. And whenever it pours like that in the evening, 45 minutes you have to spend. 15 minutes to walk there, then aarti will go on for half an hour. Suddenly you start feeling, anyway, God is all pervading. He is in my room also. Why should I go all the way there? I can do my prayer here. His advice was, you have come on the path of Vedanta is good. But what will keep us here is punya karma. Some desire we have to know the truth is good. But what will help us understand it is punya karma. So he says, do lot of devotion, lot of bhakti, and pray to Bhagavan, may you make this knowledge clear. Shrunvantopi bahavaha yam na vidyuh. Many people after listening, they don't get it. Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha. He says the teacher for this knowledge is very rare. This if you want to appreciate, we have to look at example of Mahatmas. Somebody like Shankaracharya ji. What was his main teaching? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. There is only one truth which is Brahma. Everything other than that is an appearance. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. You are that Brahman. Jiva is nothing but one with consciousness. That was his main teaching. Having understood this, he went and spread this knowledge to so many people. So Ramanujacharya ji, he raises an objection. He says, if you know something is mithya, how can you transact with mithya vastu? If you know something is unreal, for how long will you go on talking to an unreal thing? He gives an example. His main objection is, in Vedanta, teaching itself is not possible. The way they would counter philosophy is, if you prove something is not possible, then you don't have to discuss further. He says, before you start talking about nature of Brahma, he says, in your Vedanta philosophy, teaching itself is not established. He says, if you know you are looking at a mirror and that thing in front is a reflection, for how long can you talk to your reflection? 5 minutes is okay. So 1 hour, if you keep talking, and day after day you keep talking, he says, Unmattavad bhashase. It is like an intoxicated person talking to something which he knows is not there. But still teaching is given. He says that is an ascharyam. Those who are abiding in that non-dual truth, how are they able to accept duality and transact in this world of duality just like any other person? He says that is an ascharyam. Bhagwan Raman Maharshi ji, somebody came to him and said, please become my guru. I am your disciple. Please accept me as your disciple. Bhagwan said, Guru Shishya is from your standpoint, not mine. Guru and Shishya is from Shishya's standpoint, not Guru's standpoint. He says, in my vision, there is only one non-dual truth. There is no distinction of duality. Such a Mahatma, if he is able to teach, he says that's a wonder. Technically, if you look at it, they say teacher should have 2 qualities. One is Shrotriya, another is Brahmanishta. Shrotriya means they should have the right vocabulary, should have studied scripture systematically. And Brahmanishta means their own conviction should be in Brahma. Next verse is going to say, if somebody teaches Vedanta, but their mind revels in sense objects, he says that's an inferior teacher. If knowledge is taught by such a teacher, he says it doesn't create any impact. Avarena narena proktaha. Avarena nara means inferior. What is inferior there? He might be teaching Vedanta, but his conviction is not in Vedanta. His abidance is not in Brahma, abidance is in something else. So he says to find somebody who is Shrotriya Brahmanishta and to have them teach. He says that is a wonder. You know what this verse tells us is, we all should strive to be a good student. That is the next compliment which is going to come. Ascharyo Jnata. Those who were teachers, they were our great Mahatmas. That's why this title of Acharya, it goes with Shankaracharya, goes with Gurudev, goes with all great teachers of Guru Parampara. We have to first appreciate how great of a wonder it is for them to teach. And our role should be to be a good student. Our role is coming next. Ascharyo jnata kushalanushishtah. It's a wonder that in spite of saying so many times, in spite of teaching about that truth, if somebody doesn't get it, it's a wonder. But if somebody gets it, that is also a wonder. If somebody understands this truth, you say that is a wonder. You want to get a practical demo of how it is a wonder? Okay, think about it this way. If student is sitting in the class, what is his understanding? I am sitting in class. In front, teacher is sitting. So I am there, teacher is there. And teaching is happening through the teacher. Okay, I am there, teacher is there, and teacher is talking about Brahma. I am Brahman, this teaching, teacher is giving. This is a good student who is seeing only teacher in front. I am there, teacher is there, teaching is there. So how many things are there? 3 things. Now he listens to Vedanta, understands Vedanta. You ask him the same question. How many things are there? He says not 3, 1. He listened to teaching of Advaita Vedanta, and his final understanding is this duality of teacher, student and teaching. That is happening in that one non-dual substratum of consciousness. Other than consciousness, student is mithya, teacher is mithya, teaching is also mithya. One who understands in this way is a wonder. That student who has understood in the midst of dualistic teaching that non-dual truth, even if he is able to turn his mind towards that truth, that itself is a great wonder. Ascharyo jnata kushalanushishtah. Somebody asked Gurudev, why don't you do miracles? Why are you teaching all this Vedanta? Why don't you do some miracles? So many people want it. His answer was masterpiece. He said, my dear, if I do miracles, I'll be surrounded by those who are seeking only miracles. I choose to be surrounded by seekers. That is why I'm teaching Vedanta. Ascharyo jnata. It's an ascharyam if somebody seeks this self, and it's an ascharyam if somebody is willing to teach about Atma Tattva. Now look at the verse again. Shravanayapi bahubhiryo na labhyah. This truth is such, many don't get to listen to it also. Shrunantopi bahavo yam na vidyo. In spite of listening, many don't get it. Teacher is rare. Ascharyo vakta kushalanushishtha. Why is he rare? In spite of abiding in non-dual truth, he is accepting duality and teaching it. That consciousness which is beyond attributes is going on teaching about that truth which is attributeless. Try to define a thing which doesn't have attributes. You cannot call it tall, you cannot call it short. You cannot call it red, you cannot call it green. You cannot call it solid nor liquid. Think about it just for intellectual purpose. Some entity which doesn't have attributes, how will you define it? Na vidmaha, na vijanimaha. Kathopanishad Rishi says, other than negation and pointing it out as your own self, we don't know of any other method. We have not been taught about any other method. Na vidmaha, na vijanimaha, yathaitadanushishchat. Other than teaching it in this way, as one's own self, there is no other way to teach it. You cannot point it out as an object. Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha, ascharyo jnata. Student also is rare if he is able to understand non-duality without misunderstanding. again, as I had mentioned, our main purpose should be good student. We should not become teachers, because that is reserved for great Mahatmas. Ramakrishna Paramhansa, he writes in one place, he says, strive to be a good seeker, not speaker. And he says, if there is an ordinary wooden thing floating, even if bird sits on it, it will sink. Ordinary wooden log or a branch floating, bird sits on it, it will sink. Little bit wooden, if that wooden log is bigger, you have a little bit bigger wooden log. If cow is drowning, it can hold on to it. That bigger wooden log can save a cow, little bit more stronger it is. But if you make a steamboat from that wood, it can help people cross across samsara. Means it will help them cross across that ocean. He says teachers like Shankaracharya ji, Narad ji, they were like that ship. So to teach, he says you need lot of spiritual authority and injunction from God. Injunction from God. Now, does that mean we should not speak about it at all? He says no. We can speak about it as sadhana. Like how Goswamiji said, Bhasha baddha karbe mein soi, more mana prabodha jimi hoi. I am not composing Ramcharitmanas to help everybody else. He says, when I heard from my teacher, I was little playful, did not get clarity. But now, because I am speaking in my own words, Bhasha baddha karbe mein soi, in my own mind, knowledge should dawn. More mana prabodha jimi hoi. In my mind, this knowledge should dawn. For that purpose, all teaching is meaningful. There is a difference. Sadhana level teaching, for Siddha it is not teaching. For Siddha it is Krupa. It is their compassion that they are speaking. But this is the rarity of self-knowledge. Next verse is also a very beautiful verse, but that we will see in the next session. Today we have an important presentation. Those of you who are attending the second session for the first time, please stay back. If you have attended morning session also, please stay back. It's good to listen to these things and encourage different activities which are happening. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.